Herbert Wigwe, the late Access Bank, is it chairman or MD? Was he a chairman? Was it the chair? I think he was the chairman.
It
No,
was the
MD.
chairman. It was the chairman.
Chairman, okay.
It
What
was an executive chairman.
chairman? So he was active, yeah. Not okay. All right. What the hell is going on with this family? That we have issue with the people that are fighting over his inheritance. First, there is actually, because when this thing started, I asked myself, what is going on there? You mean this man, as enlightened as he was, he didn't write a will? But I found out that he wrote a will, but the will is about 14 years old. I'm surprised why he actually allowed it. I don't know. You are a lawyer. 14 years old, wasn't I expected him to have at least to be updating it from time, or probably because he didn't feel the need to update it. He wanted the will to remain as it is right now. I don't know, only God knows, only him and God knows, a sort of. So, but my problem is we have a situation where the first daughter, and has teamed up with the man's friend, and her cousin, and the man's friend and the man's cousin, against the man's wife, sorry, the man's sister, the father, and the other parts of the family. And they are fighting dating in the public, for God's sake. Barrister, they are all now, the father about 90 something years, for God's sake. Waiting this 90 something year old man. When I read about this, I say, for God's sake, what is this man looking for in life? Why will he be, instead of him to make peace, he allowed this matter to go to court? Why did he allow this matter to go to court at this age? That is one. Secondly, their basis for fighting in court, why they took this whole matter to court, is that they said the will is too old to be accepted. That 14 years is old time for them to. Well, Barrister, does that make sense to you?
That's not the reason. That's not the reason.
So what is the reason? Or what are the reasons?
Wigwe was he was an enlightened person. So he made a will. He also made a revocable trust. The will and the revocable trust were all made in the US, but probated in Nigeria after his death. And the daughter, he has 4 children.
Yes.
The first daughter is about 25 years, whom he appointed guardian over the minor children. Now, the revocable trust, he appointed trustees. That revocable trust is a method that people use for continuation to avoid probate. The estate continues like a company, more or less. You know, if the MD dies, the company continues smoothly by just changing signatories and continue. So the revocable trust is something similar to it. It's not admissible to probate, but the will is admissible to probate. So the revocable trust, he appointed one of his cousins, Uche. He appointed his business partner, that is Igboje, Mokwedi, as trustees for that revocable trust. The daughter was appointed 25 years, a guardian of the other. The other 3 children are minor.
Yes.
So the other cousin and the sister and the father were challenging the trustees for mismanagement of the estate. They also wanted to be appointed as guardians of the minor children. That's why they went to court. But in the court, they were not able to prove that the trustees mismanaged the estate. So for that reason, the court refused to grant them their prayer. In fact, all their prayers were refused. So they have to file an appeal to the Court of Appeal. They have filed an appeal that is pending in the Court of Appeal now. The will, the age of the will does not matter.
Yeah, of course.
You make a will and then you update it by what we call codicils. There were some codicils that were put along the way, which the court struck out as being invalid. So you go back to the will that was written as it was then. And the will gives the daughter guardianship over the minor children and also appoints, distributes the.
So the fight now is not.
The father feels that as the grandfather to these minor children, with the sister and the cousin, they feel they are in the best position to be looking after the minor children. That is the whole gist of this thing.
Hold on. Now again, that doesn't make sense to me, because you don't have to fight this in court to be able, you as a grandfather of over 90 years, you don't have to fight this in court to actually play the role of a grandfather in those children's life. You are the grandfather to those children and the grandfather to the girl too. For God's sake, by default, you are a grandfather, whether they accept it or not, and you can play the role of a grandfather. So that shouldn't be a reason, a cogent reason for him to go to, at his age, to go to court, to take his own daughter, his granddaughter to court, for God's sake. Honestly, I didn't know until now. You just mentioned it, that the cost of this matter in court is not just, of course, technically it is inheritance. Overall, it is inheritance issue. But you say the basis at which they went to court is guardianship, to claim guardianship or to be added as guardians to the minors. For God's sake, if that is the case, I don't expect the grandfather, an old man, to be party to this, barrister. Because either way, he's the grandfather of these children and he can play the role of a grandfather as long as his daughter is a granddaughter.
I think the grandfather is just there, but I think the main protagonist, the person driving this, will probably be the sister or Wigwe and the brother, who are now cousins to the children. The amount of money involved, the sheer size of the estate is what is driving this fight, because you are looking at billions,
of course,
billions of naira assets here and in the US, shares in Access Bank and other companies. There is a lot of companies. So they came with the idea that, look, these trustees are not performing well. We want the court to appoint one of the uncles, that is Uche Wigwe, to appoint the grandfather, that is Shingu Wigwe. Even the daughter, the 25-year-old daughter, they listed in, and then two professional management bodies, that is Zedra Trust Company and Price Waterhouse Coopers Limited, as the trustees. That's what they want.
No,
but
honestly,
the driving force, you can see that the driving force is the sister and the uncle.
The problem with, I don't know, this thing happens frequently in Igbo land. It is so sad, because this thing, I expect this thing to happen this way if there were no will. We have a will, for God's sake. I don't expect the will arrogates authority to the daughter. Is that not what you said?
Yes.
The will arrogates authority to the daughter, and the daughter is the man's blood. Now, I believe what they are seeing there, you see, that's the problem with Igbo land. Unfortunately, it is unfortunately, that's a very, very bad culture over there, where you just consider a woman not being, that's the way I see it. They may not be saying that because they just view, I believe behind the scene, I believe that will be one of their points. Why will the daughter be the one to,
exactly.
why will a woman be the one to take over this inheritance, to manage this inheritance? So I think that is one of the, even though they are not saying it publicly, honestly, as an Igbo man that I am very sure that is playing prominent role in their quarrel.
I agree with you 100%. That must be the reason why they feel, why would a 25-year-old and a girl for that matter,
that's the problem,
with this,
which is wrong,
multi-billion estate and guardianship of the minor children.
The minor children.
But the man knew.
Of course.
Everybody knows the children that he or she has. So the judge has refused all their orders.
Yeah, thank God he did that.
So they are still carrying on the fight because they have filed an appeal to the Court of
Yeah,
Appeal
let them go even to the Supreme Court.
against
That
the
girl will
orders
be
of the court.
barrister. To you as a lawyer, is that girl 100% on the side of the law, or is the law on her side?
The law is on her side, except they are able to prove mismanagement of the guardianship and the estate,
which is almost impossible.
Which the court said they have not brought any evidence that the estate is being mismanaged, that the trustees are committing wrongdoings. They were not able to prove that before the court. And that is why the court threw out their suit. You have to show that the guardianship and the trustee mandate, which is to ensure the estate's preservation for the minor children's benefit, is being abused and mismanaged.
And besides, I don't even see that girl as doing that, because one, I rather have inheritance in the hands of a girl or a lady, honestly, than a man. That's just the truth, because that lady will never treat her siblings wrongly. I don't know her. I don't know much about. I just know that this is the case that made me know. I don't know much about, but women are honestly wealth, managing wealth, family wealth.
It does not even matter. The man who made the wealth, who have the asset, entrusted it to somebody. He saw his father. He saw his father there. He saw his sister there. He saw his cousin, brother there. But he chose to appoint the daughter. There must be something to it. We must respect the will of the dead.
Yeah.
If I survive while I'm alive to make money, and why I put my will that if I die, then after I die, you go and start fighting. How is that?
Honestly,
like I said, there's very obvious mismanagement of this. You have no business challenging the will and
honestly, my own problem is even the father, the grandfather, or the father, as the case may be.
Who is 90-something years?
90-something years, for God's sake. Honestly, that is my problem. This is not unusual. It is not. It's not unusual when it comes to Igbo land. The brother, the cousins, or the sister, that's okay. But me, my gross is against the father. For God's sake.
In a family like that,
we're supposed to be making peace.
When something like that happens, some family members will get the ear of the elder and try to convince him or turn his mind against the other people.
Yeah,
and then he will follow. But it is not right.
No, it's not.
He should try to reconcile.
90-year-old man. I saw his video, whatever. That man looks very, very sane, mentally perfect, whatever. So for your children, or your children to come and cajole you and brainwash you into joining such kind of, because the truth, based on the report I read, honestly, the grandfather seemed to be at the forefront of this fight. That's my problem. That's why I'm not. That's why I even, that is the reason why I picked up this topic to discuss. It's actually, my attack is on the grandfather, who is an old man, who is supposed to be, because you want possession or you want guardianship over again, I said it earlier, by default, whether you fight it in court or not, these children, you can still play, you can and will play the role of a grandfather in these children's life, because even the daughter, the woman, the lady himself in charge of this world, is your own granddaughter, for God's sake. And granddaughters, especially first granddaughters, are usually close. Not always, I won't say always, but most times, they are close to their grandfathers. They are the closest to their grandfathers. So I don't know why this is this case is kind of different from the usual cases. So sad, anyway.